The last horrifying moments of these children eaten alive. A child was killed while playing in a remote Aboriginal community in Australia. A 14-year-old boy was swimming in a creek with his brothers in the Northern Territory's Malingimbi community, east of Darwin. He and the other children were cooling off in the water, and were not aware of any danger. They realized too late that a crocodile was in the water with them. To their horror, they saw the animal bite into the child's body. The other children could hear the boy screaming in agony as the crocodile dragged him away. They managed to save themselves by scrambling out of the water. They were terrified at what they had just seen, but were able to run for help. But it was already too late to save the boy. After an extensive search by the police and relatives, in the water and the surrounding area, the boy could not be found. But because of what the children had witnessed, he was presumed to be dead. The Northern Territory is estimated to have more than 80,000 saltwater crocodiles, which can grow up to 23 feet, 7 meters, long. Both saltwater and freshwater crocodiles were hunted to near extinction in Australia. But their numbers have increased since they became protected by federal law in 1971. Jeremy Doble, 5 years old, killed by a crocodile. He had been playing with his 7-year-old brother, Ryan, in Australia in 2009. They and their dog were at the back of their house, which was beside a flooded mangrove swamp, when the attack happened. The two boys were playing happily at the water, unaware of any danger, when the dog started barking frantically. Ryan looked towards the water and saw a horrifying sight. His younger brother, Jeremy, was struggling and screaming inside the mouth of the huge animal. Within seconds, the crocodile swam out further away from the bank and under the water. After a frantic search, the police found the animal responsible. The child's remains were found in the stomach of the crocodile in the flooded Daintree River. A girl, 7 years old, is killed while swimming. The child was swimming near Gumarirnbang Outstation, in the Northern Territory, Australia, in 2012. She was with a group of children and one adult. The children were shocked when the man was suddenly attacked by the animal. This area has not been troubled by crocodiles before, and the water was presumed to be safe. As the children scrambled to get out of the water, the animal let go of the man and grabbed the child under the water. All this happened very quickly, and the man could not prevent it from happening. Other people went into the creek to look for her, but there was no sign of the child. She could not be found anywhere, so it was presumed that the crocodile had eaten her. After an extensive search, the police located the crocodile responsible and killed it. When they opened its stomach, they found it contained human remains. She screamed for help, but was dragged under the water. In 2009, 11-year-old Briony Goodsell was out playing with her younger sister, 7-year-old Bethany, and 2 friends, in Darwin, Australia. It was a hot day, so they decided they would go for a swim in the nearby creek. They got bored with this and went further down the water. This area was part of the Black Jungle Conservation Reserve. There were signs of no entry, but the children decided to go anyway. As they swam here, they were suddenly aware that Briony was screaming for help. When they looked towards the child, they saw her body being dragged under the water, and the tail of a crocodile splashing about. They ran for help, but when it arrived there was no sign of Briony. The remains of Briony Goodsell were found the day after she was attacked. A 12-year-old boy has been eaten by a crocodile. He was swimming with his cousin and 3 other friends at Magela Creek, behind the Mudgonberry Outstation near Kakadu National Park, in the Northern Territory in Australia. They lived at the nearby Aboriginal settlement. The children did not realize that there were crocodiles in the water. They were just out for a bit of fun in the river. Out of nowhere the animal attacked another boy, his cousin, Jaden Jonjul. This child was able to fight off the crocodile because he was a bit older at 15. But when it stopped going towards the boy, it suddenly jumped the 12-year-old, and with one bite it was able to drag him under the water. There was no chance of saving him because he was being drowned very quickly. The other children got out of the water and ran for help. Police and park rangers launched a search, with helicopters and airboats also being used. They managed to shoot 2 crocodiles. But when they cut out their stomachs, there was no sign of the boy. His cousin Jaden had severe wounds on his arms and needed stitches. Parts of his body were later found on the banks near where the attack took place. The last terrifying moments of these young lads. He ignored the warnings about the crocodiles. Sean Cole, 26, was with a group of his friends celebrating at a birthday party in 2013. The party was being held on the banks of the Mary River in North Australia. Visitors are told not to go in the water and to stay away from the edge on the banks. This is because of the dangers of the many saltwater crocodiles who live there. But Sean and one of his friends had drank a lot of beer and decided to go for a swim. They were only in the water for minutes when a crocodile attacked Sean. It grabbed him in its jaws and then pulled him underwater. His friend managed to swim back to shore safely. Witnesses told the police that they had seen the crocodile swimming upriver with Sean's body in its jaws. The authorities found the remains of his body soon after. Brett Mann, 22, is attacked and eaten by a crocodile. In December 2003, 3 friends had gone quad biking beside the Finnis River, which is near Darwin, in Australia. Sean Blowers, Ashley McGow, both 19, and Brett Mann, 22, loved to go biking in the bush. It was an activity that they enjoyed as friends. When they had finished their ride, they went near the banks of the river to wash off the mud from their clothes. But Brett slipped in the mud and was swept away in the river. The others swam in to rescue him. But as the boys were guiding him to the banks, a large crocodile grabbed hold of Brett Mann in its jaws. As it was thrashing his body from side to side, Brett was screaming and crying for help. The other 2 lads later told their rescuers that it all happened in seconds, and they could do nothing to save him. The animal then pulled the young man down under the water. The others swam to a big tree and climbed up its branches. A little while later the crocodile came back, without Brett. It circled around the area watching the teenagers up in the tree. They were up there for 22 hours. It was a terrifying time for them, because they were exhausted. They had to make sure that neither of them fell asleep and slipped into the water. Eventually they were rescued by a search party. But the body of Brett Mann could not be found. The signs told of the dangers of swimming there. Isabel von Jordan, 23, from Tutzing, in Germany, was with her sister, Valerie, and 8 other European tourists. They were taking a tour of Kakadu National Park, Australia, in October 2002. They went to swim in the water because they were all hot and sticky. But this waterhole was well signposted with warnings about the dangers of crocodiles. When they asked the guide about this, they were told to ignore them, because it only had freshwater crocodiles in it, and they were not dangerous. Why he told them it was safe to swim in the water is unknown. Valerie and Isabel were slowly swimming beside each other and chatting. As the 10 people were enjoying the swim in the cooling water, there was suddenly a terrible screaming coming from one of them. Valerie later told the authorities that out of nowhere, a crocodile jumped out of the water and grabbed hold of her sister in its huge mouth. She was shocked, but could do nothing to help because it all happened so fast. She saw her sister being dragged down under the water by the animal. She was crying when she told them that it was only then that Valerie stopped screaming. Everyone else managed to get out of the water unharmed, but they were all shocked at what they had heard and seen. The rangers recovered Isabel's body, still in the mouth of a 13-foot, 4 meters saltwater crocodile. There were also 8 other dangerous animals in the water too. So the other tourists were very lucky not to end up dead too. The tour guide was very experienced and knew the area very well. He had taken tourists into the Kakadu National Park for the past 13 years. But his neglect caused the death of this young woman. The tour guide, Glenn Robles, was later convicted of causing her death by making a dangerous omission. He received a 3-year suspended sentence. For more facts about animals and animal attacks, click on the subscribe button.